right, everybody. We're here to talk about housing, controversial housing plans. What do they call it nowadays? They call it affordable housing, something like that. Something along those lines, like something among 100K to like $1 million, affordable. We're going to talk about affordable housing and why it's never coming as long as there's a profit system in place. As long as the profit system is the exchange, the way of exchanging houses, nothing will be affordable.
Now, the federal and provincial governments have partnered to
This is CBC News.
fund a $5 billion investment into BC housing and related infrastructure. And that includes a strategy to convert more than 2,200 empty condos into affordable homes. Critics, though, say this is merely a tactic to bail out homeowners or home builders using taxpayer money.
True.
For more on what's happening, we're joined by two guests. Wendy McNeil is...
Why don't they just lower the price? Are you really telling me that some condos are sitting vacant? Maybe you should lower the price, dog. If no one's renting your fucking shitty condo, maybe lower the price, dude. Yeah, that risk did not work for these people. But anyway, that's what happens. That's what happens in capitalism, is that eventually you'll have a bunch of people who don't have a lot of what someone needs, like housing. But I don't know what my point is. Fuck, I'm pausing already. Let's go.
The Home Builders Association Vancouver Chief Executive Officer. Good morning to you, Wendy. Now, the federal...
Sorry, let's run that back and I'll be quiet. I'm going to run that back and I'll be fucking quiet.
Now, the federal and provincial governments have partnered to fund a $5 billion investment into BC housing and related infrastructure. And that includes a strategy to convert more than 2,200 empty condos into affordable homes. Critics, though, say this is merely a tactic to bail out homeowners or home builders using taxpayer money. For more on what's happening, we're joined by two guests. Wendy McNeil is the Home Builders Association Vancouver Chief Executive Officer. Good morning to you, Wendy.
Good morning, Stephen.
And Brad Jones is with
CEO.
West Group Properties. He's the Chief Development Officer. Good morning to you, Brad.
Morning, Stephen. Thanks for having me.
Thank you both for being with us. Wendy, to you.
All right, so off the bat already, what I hate about this interview setup already, the people you're interviewing is the CEO and the developer who's like working with the CEO. So they're just going to talk about how amazing it is for the economy, which is for them, not you, not for us. People who work, these people own, well, at least maybe not the developer, but maybe the developer. But anyway, they own capital. Me and you have to work for wages. These people own the economy. That's the important part. Some people don't understand about the economy, is that it's in private hands. It's in the hands of a tinier few of people all the time. So yes, the criticism that it's helping the rich get bailed out for their shitty investments, totally. People who can afford to be a landlord are not struggling. They might think they are, but not in comparison to like some other people out there. I'm just saying.
How do you respond to critics who see this condo conversion strategy as a bailout for the development industry that can't sell condos?
I think it's a really complex issue, and I think that's where people don't understand the complexities that are happening in the industry right now. It is, if you look at what the top part of this agreement is looking at reducing government-imposed fees, which are the DCC's development cost charges. So it's not a bailout, it's about supporting an industry that delivers necessary housing for people across this region.
See, now this all seems like relatively reasonable to a lot of people, and I'll tell you why it's wrong. First of all, she's talking about tax breaks, which is what your tax dollars are funding, okay? I know some people don't understand how that works, but the government is sending tax dollars to give these people a break on their taxes, right? The corporations and the rich. So to say it's a complex issue and we're smarter, it's more complex than that, it's more nuanced. It's not very nuanced. It is the most singular thing that we all know about society. Profit rules over everything. That's the bottom line. Profit, money, all of it. Profit rules ultimately. And people who don't live by that rule book fail. They die out. That's competition in this system. It is cash relationships. It is how much money you have. That's how much power you have in society. Right? Like, so of course they're going to come on the news and be like, well, this is amazing for the economy. And you're going to get a job. Think about that.
Across BC.
A 9
and
to
I think
5.
it's really important to remember that these costs can contribute up to 30% more fees and more costs on a home and per unit, which affects ability to purchase homes for a lot of homeowners in our region. So this is not seen as a bailout. It's seen as a way for government to take some responsibility of the increased charges that are being put onto new homes and being able to address that.
And we hear that those development cost charges, those DCCs, do add a substantial amount to the bottom line. That's one part of this announcement from the federal government, but the other part is somehow acquiring 2,200 empty units. Is that not correct?
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it.
Oh, come on, bro. Did Canada score? Hey, Canada scored in the World Cup, baby, versus Switzerland. 75 minutes. Let's go, Canada. You got to get one more, though, to fucking tie this shit. Anyway. Stupid ads are still going, huh?
Yeah, it's from the announcement. Again, there's not a lot of detail other than the top line that 2,200 vacant condos will be converted into affordable housing. I think we talk a lot about affordable housing issues, especially in Vancouver region. And if this is a way for the government to be able to support subsidized housing, that could be one solution.
Listen, it's not a good solution. But also, is there any guarantees? I don't know. I haven't seen the agreements or if it's legal, but the thing is, these owners set the prices of their houses, their property. So what stops them from taking the tax break anyway and still not lowering it as much or as much as people may have thought or whatever it is, right? Oh, it costs so much money. No, they want your money. They want profits. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see if that actually works, because who sets the prices in these private markets? Well, the free market, whatever the competitive average price is. And is the government going to intervene and say you have to lower your costs now? Or lower your prices now because of this? I don't know. I don't think so. I'm not sure.
I think also it doesn't serve anybody having open homes that are just sitting on the market on the sidelines without people living in it. It contributes to taxpayer base for governments. They also serve as livability and community building. So having these homes just sitting there doesn't serve anybody. And again, there's carrying costs for the builder as well. I'm sure Brad can talk more on the burden of that. But that's an interesting solution to see and see how it will pan out.
Why doesn't the builder or the owner simply lower the price of those units until they, hit something that the market will make them move?
I think one of the things that's really important to understand is there are a lot of costs that go into building any type of home, whether it's a condominium.
That's why, because it's an investment vehicle. Because land appreciates, baby. Why would they sell low? Why? Why would they sell low? It doesn't make any sense. It's like, if you have a house that's ready for sale, land appreciates, home values appreciate over time. It's only a good investment to just leave it at the fucking price until it sells in the future.
I mean, there are a lot of costs that go into building any type of home, whether it's a condominium unit, a townhouse unit, and any business, you're looking to sell a product that at least gives you at least more than break even. And right now we have a lot of our developer members who are selling below the cost it costs to construct it. the land at a
They're
high price,
bleeding.
the
They're
government
dying.
imposed fees are really high, and you can set the bar at whatever price you want, but the end consumer can't afford it. So that's where we are. Like the pricing to just make it move forward is so high that the consumer can't purchase it. So that's where we are. We don't have the demand because
Right.
it's too high and the builders can't move forward.
So, Brad, why build something that the end consumer can't afford?
I mean, that certainly wasn't what the industry set out to do. I think what we're seeing is a whipsaw of policy changes over the last decade. As Wendy mentioned,
I mean, this is all
part
just
of this
jerking myself off. This is bullshit. This is all just shit. I mean, the CBC guy, props to him. I mean, Canada has like such a weird unbiased coverage. Still plenty of bias in it, but they do their best to give kind of the straight facts. Like he's not going in like the questions he's asking aren't like super contentious either way. But it's like, why not build cheap homes? Why not build homes people can afford? You know why? I'll tell you why people aren't buying. Or here, I gotta redo that again for the short. Fuck.
That's where we are. We don't have the demand because
Right.
it's too high and the builders can't move forward.
So, Brad, why build something that the end consumer can't afford?
I mean, that certainly wasn't what the industry set out to do. I think what we're seeing is a whipsaw of policy changes over the last decade. As Wendy mentioned, part of this agreement addresses development cost charges, which have more than doubled in the last 5 years.
Sure.
So, a typical unit might have paid, $25,000 or $28,000 in development charges in 2022, and would pay upwards of $55,000 or even higher today. And so that's been a major cost issue. With regard to the purchase piece, I think it's too early to know the details of this agreement. But one thing I do want to highlight is I don't believe that our industry advocated for this. So far, I have not found anyone who was consulted with government on this condo purchase program. So we didn't ask.
That's because it's the private sector, dummy. What? What? Wait. This is kind of breaking my brain. Like, these are private developers. You know why also? You know why people are building nice houses for sale? Because 50% of all spending is done by the top 10% or top 1%. One of the two, top 10%. It's top 10%. So the top 10% of the wealthiest people in the world or in the market have bought up half the market. The other half is for the other 90% of us. That's why affordable shit's not being built, because a lot of rich people have a lot of fucking money who are driving up the demand for a lot of this expensive shit that are way too priced out of the market for any motherfucking regular ordinary person.
Ask for this, and predominantly our industry was advocating for similar deal to that Ontario announced a few months ago with the federal government, which is a GST exemption on new housing.
Right.
One of the things that's hard with new product is you're competing with the resale market.
Yeah.
But new housing pays 5% GST on the purchase price, and something that's not often understood is even we have a unit that we're struggling to sell, we can't even rent it out without paying that GST ourselves to be able to rent the unit out. So it creates.
See, sounds like a problem like the government should take care of. Like maybe the government should like take care of housing, maybe instead of a private person who maximizes profit instead of people's well-being and making sure there's affordable houses being built in a efficient manner. Instead of just like a couple billionaires being like, I want a big fucking ugly mansion, big ugly shit, or like high rises or condos for X amount of millions of dollars. I want that. We're gonna make that because I have enough money to buy that shit. Okay, so but what's the problem? Why are the prices going up? Just inflation, dude. Has this guy ever been around inflation forever? Ever? Yeah, the cost of fucking your inputs are going up. That's called just inflation. That's just called general inflation. It's about 2% a year. So you just seem to be doing fine if you're not out of business yet. But like the thought that these people are actually like dying, like all their money, all of their fucking value are in assets. They're in assets. They're not in revenues, you know? But anyway, fine. It's fine. Fine.
It's a situation
Like they have loans to meet their interest payments, I'm assuming.
where there's this new supply that's stuck with a higher cost and tax burden, but you can't even rent it out if you wanted to occupy the unit.
I'm getting all kinds of messages about this, and one of them says it's a reverse Robin Hood. These companies overpaid for land and built units nobody wants. Bailing them out is just going to lead to them building expensive, awful units. Brad.
And what I was just talking about. Kind of like what I just said. But we'll see what he responds. It's like I called into the fucking show. Was he listening to me, for fuck's sakes?
That's a big one to respond to. I mean, what I would say to that is we supplied housing into a market and built it under a set of government policies from municipal to regional to provincial and federal that range from land use policy, which predominantly drives the price of land,
Right.
all the way up through to development charges, and then even up to federal immigration programs. And one of the things that we're seeing with housing supply right now, whether it's rental or for sale, is we make these purchase decisions on a project 10 plus years ago.
Yeah, like everyone knows the problem with housing. The supply and demand. Anyone who's taken econ, supply and demand. Yeah. There's not enough supply of houses. And also, no one wants a lot of supply of houses because the fucking market will crash and my fucking investment vehicle, my little nest egg, will be good riddance to that. So, are they gonna come down?
It takes a couple years to get your approvals. It takes a few years to build the project, or even longer for a bigger building. And so your cycle time is a decade. And
I have to sit here and act. I'm a business student. I have to sit here and act like I agree.
In Canada right now, we're seeing
immigrants suck. They drove up the price.
History in British Columbia, population decline, and just a few
I can't believe this dude is bringing up immigrants about the housing supply as if that's a fucking like huge factor. Because immigrants are a minority population in the fucking country. There's like 10% or some shit. Like, it's a very small group of people. You're telling me these people are jacking up the market? You're telling me these people who come from the poorest places on the planet, who are some of the hardest workers, who pay into our tax system, you're telling me that they're to blame for why I can't get a house? Like, what the fuck, dude? Like, come on, Brad Jones. You're better than that, dude. You're better than that, man. Just stop lying, Brad Jones. We all know nobody wants more supply of houses because the fucking prices will fall. No one wants prices to fall if you're a seller. Ring a bell? Ring a bell, Brad Jones?
few years ago, we were at record-setting immigration levels. So it's creating this shock effect in the market, both right now where there's very limited demand.
How
but
many?
then, you don't have.
How many of the immigrants can genuinely afford to own a $200,000 house? Genuinely, I would love to know the stats.
Too far back,
I don't know.
2 or 3 years ago, where immigration was at record-setting levels and housing prices were incredibly high.
Wendy, I appreciate, as Brad said, that this is something that, the industry certainly didn't ask for. But, this is reminding us of an interview we did a few weeks back when somebody was talking about purchasing empty condos in bulk and holding on to them as rentals until the price went up and then being able to sell them at a higher cost. I mean,
yes, this is what happens in capitalism. When you're the winner, and you see your competitor selling his house for cheap because he's going out of business, he didn't manage properly, he needs the liquidity, you go, hey, I'm buying low and I'm selling high, baby. That's what I'm doing. So yeah, makes sense if you're a rich fuck.
Is the market not the market? Do developers not take on a degree of risk when they build these projects?
Oh my God.
I just echoing what Brad said is that they
One sec. Before we talk about the degree of risk, like all of the financial calculations and calculus that go into ROI, that go into projections and modeling of how much potential net present value there is out of this project, like they're not going to take on the project if all of their statisticians and all of the people they've hired, their analysis comes back and says, oh, the ROI says we're going to lose like all of our money on this shit. No, they're not going to do that. So the risk is stupid. And also, when we're talking about risk, I have to risk living here, that you're a nice landlord, and also risk that you're fucking manageable enough to not have flipping turnover at the management side all the fucking time. So I'm stuck with different landlords all the fucking time. Like I don't know, I don't know. Just food for thought, I guess.
look ahead 10 years a project could take from start to finish, and only so many of us have a crystal ball that could predict the changes that there's been so much policy changes over the last concentrated time that Brad had alluded to, that you can only anticipate so much. These are businesses that have managed risk. They get into the business knowing that, but when things change so out of hand and so dramatically, from immigration to increased costs on DCCs, which puts
they're
such a burden.
They're both just blaming immigration. What the fuck is this, CBC, bro? What the fuck? Why is it just like the immigrants did it? What the fuck is this, CBC? What? They're just like, oh, immigrants. Is that it? That just immigrants. That's it. That's it. Is it the Ukraine war? They haven't brought that up yet. What is it? Immigrants are such a minute, tiny part of the population to get mad at for the entire market. The rest of 80%, 90% of the market.
On new construction, it's very hard to be able to manage everything on their own. I think that's where that crisis is so much has happened in such a little time that it's just culminated into a part where they just can't move forward. And I think it's just realizing that it's not all the builders' fault. There's government involvement as well, from policies and from expectations and codes, etc.
Okay, so blame the government. I mean, a classic. Who doesn't like to blame the government? Because, I mean, it's right. It's a true statement. The government sucks dick. The government's shafting everybody except for the capitalists. But she's a CEO. She's not getting shafted. She is a capitalist, But blame the government. Blame the red tape. That's why costs are so high. Whatever, even if you cut all of the taxes, the fucking competitive price will still be whatever it is. And more people will have money, perhaps, if you're cutting some taxes. So the price is going to go up because the demand's there. So are you going to build or not? It's just like, that's really the question, is like, are you going to fucking build something? Please? Anything. Like just one high rise that's cheap. Is that possible? One?
Etc. So there's it's they are in the business of understanding risk, but there has been so much change over this last while that it is hard. It would have been hard to be able to anticipate that for sure.
Again, I mean, getting piles. My screen is full of messages about this right now, and one says, if we have to bail out developers if things don't work out for them, when they do make their millions in development, do they pay out some of their profits to the taxpayer? Who wants to handle that?
Well, of course not.
I'd love to answer that.
No.
The development industry, it might be the highest taxed industry in Canada, and it's predominantly on the backs of new home purchasers and new renters. The fees and charges that go in to new housing are incredibly high, and then to mention the amount of amenities that are delivered through new development, infrastructure upgrades, park upgrades, community center contributions or construction, childcare, all of these other things. I don't think it's well understood
Yeah,
how
but
high.
people, the thing is, sure, that's all true. If that is true, if there's a profit incentive, that is true if the capital owner, the owner of the business, wants there to be like a park or some sort of nice foliage. They could just fucking leave it to be a shithole. They don't care. Why would they? They're trying to maximize their profit. Why would they spend money on a fucking big ass project that doesn't generate revenue? So it doesn't make sense to me, but that is obviously giving back to the community. But people don't feel that personally, you know? They don't recognize that, hey, I can take my kids to the park or something. I mean, some people do, right? Oh, it's nice. I lived next to a park at one time. Oh, it's so nice. The park's right there. Yeah. But it's better. It's probably more likely to happen if it's under some sort of governmental structure instead of a free market structure. I'm just saying. But also, he's kind of dodging the question. He's not answering the question. The question is, how come you're getting bailed out, but I'm not getting fucking bailed out? You know, me who goes to work all day, and you who owns hundreds of millions of dollars in fucking houses, you get bailed out, but not me. You know,
the tax burden on new housing is. And I do want to reiterate, I think, as you mentioned, Stephen, you're getting a lot of comments. If our industry wanted a bailout, we would have asked for it. We didn't ask for it. We actually asked for a purchaser benefit to not pay federal purchase price tax on new housing construction. And as part of that, because you're paying the GST on a purchase price that has all kinds of embedded taxes up the chain, you're paying federal tax on municipal taxes and provincial taxes that are levied on new home construction. So we actually asked for that to be waived. We asked for the same deal as Ontario. We asked for Ontario British Columbia new home buyers to have the same treatment.
I mean, you're just
as
going through the
Ontario
same talking points at this
and
point.
that isn't what went forward. So there was no ask for a bailout. We're continuing to try to sell
it
product,
is a bailout,
rent product,
though,
and build product, and asked for policy that's conducive to that.
I mean, it is a bailout. The developers are going, this house, I can no longer fucking meet the interest payments on this shit. It's not selling, and I'm paying taxes on this bitch. And it's not providing me income, you know? So why not, fucking lower the price? Well, we've discussed that.
Rent product and build product, and asked for policy that's conducive to that, not what's come forward.
And I guess another question.
So basically what I've gotten out of this interview so far is blame the immigrants and blame the government. Thank you, CBC, for the insightful commentary. Like, are you fucking kidding me? I could explain to these fucking people better why the housing market is fucked by these people on the screen. Get me on, CBC, please.
Why should home buyers trust that this is going to result in any kind of long-term affordability rather than just, fixing a temporary glut?
I think it's hard to answer that with the details that are present right now.
Right.
I think it's easy to make a quick judgment on what this is, and I completely understand.
Alpha
the
male
reaction.
In the room, boy.
But it's without the details, it's hard to know actually what the program's going to address, to be honest.
Wendy?
I would just add that, it's important to ensure, especially with a industry as home building, that it keeps moving forward. I think when you see a gap stop that we have right now, this means about 3 years down the road, 4 years, 5 years down the road, there isn't going to be product available for sale. And then what? Then you have a crisis of price acceleration. We can't get the trades in fast enough to start building. It is not a turn on the light switch and all of a sudden everything's going to be built right away.
Yeah, this is what happens in capitalism. It crashes all the time. It's very volatile. Eventually, you're gonna, this is a consequence of overproduction. You're gonna have a lot of houses that people can't afford. And then people are gonna be very mad.
So it's really important to understand that, this industry is essential. Like, this is a basic need for people, is to, we can't get the trades in fast enough to start building. It is not a keeps moving forward. I think when you see a gap stop that we have right now, this means about 3 years down the road, 4 years, 5 years down the road, there isn't going to be product available for sale. And then what? Then you have a crisis of price acceleration. We can't get the trades in fast enough to start.
Which to a lot of people isn't gonna make sense, because it's like, why not just lower the price? It's like, because they're the owners of it. They don't want it. They don't want to. They don't want to make a loss. It's a good financial investment, land and housing. You know, you could easily get some loans, and if you're a landlord who's rich enough or a developer to do this, it's a pretty easy decision.
Start building. Is not a turn on the light switch and all of a sudden everything's going to be built right away. So it's really important to understand that, you know, this industry is essential. Like, this is a basic need for people, is to have a place to live.
Right.
Yeah, it is. Maybe that's why it shouldn't be under a profit system of exchange. We shouldn't be exchanging houses via a profit-based system, because we shouldn't be pricing people out of buying a house. Imagine that. Imagine building more houses for people. No, but that's what profit does. It fucks you, because they are greedy fucks. They want their fucking profit targets, their fucking shareholder targets. They don't give a fuck about affordable housing. They care about their fucking profits. Okay.
And we just really need to be aware of that. That we're trying to move things forward. As Brad said, we're not asking for a bailout. It's just to reduce price costing that's government imposed, to be able to make a product that people can afford.
Very good to hear from both of you this morning. Thank you so much for the time, and thank you for
this was
with no notice taking the questions that we were fielding here. Thank you. We appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Stephen.
All right. Take care. Wendy McNeil, Home Builders Association of Vancouver, Chief Executive Officer. Brad Jones, West Group Properties Chief Development Officer. They joined us to talk about the government's condo conversion plan in BC.
Yeah, so that was hilarious. That's never happening.